There comes a moment in every life when fear whispers that you are too small, too late, or too broken to rise. But hear this truth and let it settle deep in your bones. Fear has never been the author of your destiny. It has only been a shadow, stretched long by doubt and silence. Today is not about becoming someone new. It is about remembering who you have always been. Over the next 7 days, you will learn to stand upright in your own power, to speak with a voice that does not tremble, and to walk with a confidence that no longer asks permission. This is your journey. 7 days to fearless confidence, 7 days to limitless power, and by the time you step forward again, the world will not ask who you are because your presence will answer for you. Fear will knock on your door as it always has. It will arrive uninvited, carrying old memories and rehearsed doubts, hoping you will mistake its voice for your own. But fear is a visitor, not a master. It may step into the room, but it does not get to rearrange the furniture of your destiny. It may whisper, but it does not get to write your story. You must learn to greet it without surrendering to it. You must learn to say, I see you, but you do not command me. For too long, many of us have treated fear like authority. We have bowed to it before we even tried. We have allowed it to shrink our dreams, to soften our voices, to convince us that safety is better than significance. But fear has never built a legacy. Fear has never created greatness. Every mountain ever climbed, every barrier ever broken, every bold step ever taken was carried out by someone who felt fear and moved anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision that something else is more important. In these 7 days, you will begin to change your relationship with fear. Instead of running from it, you will study it. Instead of obeying it, you will question it. Ask it where it came from. Ask it what it is protecting. You may discover that fear is often a mask worn by growth. When you stand at the edge of something greater than your comfort zone, fear shows up to test your resolve. It asks, are you certain? And you must answer, yes. Each day, take one step that frightens you. Speak when you would normally stay silent. Try when you would normally retreat. Believe when you would normally doubt. These small acts are declarations. They announce to your spirit that fear no longer holds the throne. And with every bold action, fear grows smaller. It begins to understand that it is not in charge here. You are. Remember this, fear thrives in darkness but weakens in light. When you bring it into the open, when you talk about it, confront it, challenge it, it loses its power to intimidate. Your strength has always been greater than your anxiety. Your potential has always been larger than your hesitation. The only difference between who you are and who you are becoming is your willingness to move forward despite the trembling. So let fear visit if it must. Let it knock, let it speak, but do not offer it a seat at the head of your table. Stand tall in your truth. Walk boldly in your purpose. Allow fear to watch as you rise, as you grow, as you claim the space that was always yours. And when these 7 days are complete, you will look back and realize that fear never had the power to stop you. It only had the power you were willing to give it. There is a story you have been telling yourself for years. It plays quietly in the background of your decisions, your risks, your hesitations. It speaks in familiar tones. I am not enough. I always fail. People like me don't succeed. That story may have been written in moments of embarrassment, rejection, or heartbreak. It may have been handed to you by careless words, by comparison, by a single painful memory that decided to overstay its welcome. But listen carefully. Just because a story has been repeated does not mean it is true. You are both the narrator and the author of your life. And what you have written in pain can be rewritten in power. The past may explain you, but it does not define you. Those chapters were lessons, not life sentences. Yet too often we frame our mistakes as identities. We say, I failed, and slowly it becomes, I am a failure. We say, I was rejected, and it becomes, I am unworthy. But events are experiences, not definitions. They pass through your life. They are not meant to live there permanently. In this 7-day journey, you must become aware of your inner language. Notice the words you use when you speak to yourself. Are they gentle or cruel? Encouraging or condemning? Would you speak to someone you love the way you speak to your own heart? The voice inside you should be a guide, not a bully. Confidence begins the moment you challenge that negative narration and replace it with truth. Rewrite the script. When the old voice says, I can't, answer it with, I am learning. When it says, I'm not ready, respond with, I am growing. When it reminds you of your past, remind it of your potential. This is not about pretending weakness does not exist. It is about refusing to let weakness have the final word. The story you tell yourself determines the limits you accept. Change the story, and you change the limits. Each morning, speak a new truth over your life. Not empty flattery, but grounded affirmation. Say, I am capable of more than I have shown. Say, I deserve to take up space. Say, my voice matters. At first, it may feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. That is because you are breaking an old habit of self-doubt, but repetition builds belief, and belief builds behavior. Soon you will begin acting like the person you are declaring yourself to be. Remember, the world often mirrors the energy you carry within. If you see yourself as small, you will move cautiously. If you see yourself as powerful, you will move boldly. The transformation begins inside, in the quiet rewriting of your thoughts. No one else may witness this sacred work, but it is the foundation of fearless confidence. You are not bound to the story you inherited. You are not trapped in the identity formed by your lowest moment. Pick up the pen, cross out the lies, write a narrative filled with strength, resilience, and hope. And as you do, you will discover that limitless power was never outside of you. It was waiting for you to tell a better story. There is a voice within you that has tried to keep you small. It speaks in moments of opportunity. It rises just before you step onto the stage of your own becoming. It says, who do you think you are? It lists your flaws like evidence in a courtroom. It reminds you of every stumble, every awkward beginning, every unfinished attempt. That voice has called itself realism, responsibility, caution. But in truth, it has often been fear wearing the mask of wisdom. The inner critic is not born powerful. It grows stronger each time you agree with it. Each time you shrink back, each time you silence your own idea before it is spoken, you feed it. And over time it begins to sound like truth. But hear me clearly, not every thought you think deserves your trust. Not every voice in your mind deserves authority. You must learn to question the critic the same way it questions you. When that voice says, you are not ready, ask it, who decides readiness? When it says, you will fail, ask it, and if I do, will I not rise again? Challenge it, interrupt it. Refuse to let it speak uninterrupted across the landscape of your dreams. For every accusation it makes, answer with evidence of your strength. You have survived days you once thought would break you. You have endured nights that seemed endless. You have learned, grown, adapted. That is not weakness, that is resilience. But silencing the inner critic is only half the journey. Once the noise fades, you must awaken the other voice, the one that has been waiting patiently beneath the doubt. The inner lion does not roar immediately. It begins as a whisper of courage. It says, try. It says, stand. It says, you are more. That voice carries calm strength. It does not need to insult you into action. It believes in your power because it knows it has always been there. To awaken that lion, you must practice boldness in small ways. Keep promises to yourself. Finish what you begin. Speak kindly to your reflection. Each act of integrity is a signal to your spirit that you are worthy of trust. And as trust grows, confidence follows. The lion within you feeds on discipline, on courage, on self-respect. It grows each time you choose action over avoidance. There will still be moments when the critic attempts to return. Let it speak if it must, but do not let it lead. You are not obligated to follow every fearful thought. You are allowed to choose strength. You are allowed to choose belief. And when you do, something powerful shifts. Your posture changes. Your tone deepens. Your presence expands. You were never meant to live crouched beneath your potential. There is royalty in your spirit, power in your voice, fire in your purpose. The world does not need a quieter version of you. It needs the awakened one. Let the critic grow tired from being ignored. Let the lion rise from being trusted. And when you walk into your next challenge, do not walk as someone hoping to survive. Walk as someone who knows they were born to lead. Doubt will come, not as a storm you can see from a distance, but as a quiet fog that settles around your thoughts. It will blur your vision just enough to make you question the path beneath your feet. It will not always shout. Sometimes it will simply sigh and ask, "Are you sure?" And in that small question, it will try to bend your posture, to lower your gaze, to make you second guess the ground you have already claimed. But there is something powerful about a person who chooses to stand tall anyway, not because they have all the answers, not because they are untouched by uncertainty, but because they understand that doubt is a feeling, not a verdict. It is a passing cloud, not the sky itself. When you stand tall in the face of doubt, you send a message to your spirit that uncertainty does not equal incapability. There will be moments when others question you too. They may not understand your vision. They may measure your dream against their own limitations. Their raised eyebrows, their cautious advice, their subtle disbelief may press against your confidence. And if you are not careful, their doubt will begin to echo inside you. But remember this, people can only see as far as their own courage allows. If they have never dared greatly, they may not recognize greatness rising in you. Standing tall is not about arrogance, it is about alignment. It is about knowing who you are, even when applause is absent. It is about holding your shoulders back when criticism attempts to curl them forward. It is about speaking your truth with calm conviction, even if your voice trembles at first. Strength is not loud. Sometimes it is simply steady. In this 7-day journey, you will practice posture, not just of the body, but of the spirit. Lift your head when you enter a room. Look people in the eye. Take up space without apology. These physical acts may seem small, but the body teaches the mind. When you stand as though you belong, your thoughts begin to follow. Confidence is not only felt, it is practiced. Doubt may still whisper, "What if you fail?" Let your response be, "What if I succeed?" Doubt may ask, "What will they think?" Let your answer be, "What do I think?" Each time you choose belief over hesitation, you reinforce your foundation. You remind yourself that your worth is not determined by the volume of outside approval. You were not created to fold under pressure. You were built with a spine strong enough to carry vision, with a heart bold enough to chase it. So when doubt circles your ambition, do not shrink. Plant your feet firmly. Breathe deeply. Remember every challenge you have already overcome, and then move forward, not because you are free from uncertainty, but because you refuse to let uncertainty define you. Stand tall, even when your knees shake. Stand tall, even when the room is silent. Stand tall, because the act of standing is a declaration that you trust yourself, and in that trust, you will find a power that doubt can never dismantle. Pain has a way of marking us. It arrives without invitation and settles deep in the chambers of our memory. It can come as betrayal, as failure, as loss, as the quiet disappointment of not becoming who you thought you would be by now. Pain can feel heavy, like a weight tied to your spirit, pulling you backward each time you try to move forward. And if you are not careful, you will begin to see it as proof that you are broken. But pain is not proof of weakness. It is proof that you have lived, that you have dared, that you have cared. The question is not whether you will experience pain. The question is what you will do with it. Will you let it harden you into bitterness, or will you allow it to shape you into strength? For within every wound lies a lesson, and within every lesson lies power waiting to be claimed. There are people who allow pain to define their identity. They replay it, rehearse it, introduce themselves through it, and slowly their suffering becomes their story. But you were not meant to be a monument to what hurt you. You were meant to be a testimony to what you overcame. Pain may visit your life, but it does not have the authority to take ownership of it. Turning pain into power requires courage. It requires you to look at what hurt you and ask, what has this taught me? Perhaps it taught you discernment, perhaps it taught you resilience, perhaps it taught you that you can survive nights you once thought would swallow you whole. When you begin to search for the lesson instead of dwelling only on the loss, something shifts. You move from victim to victor, from wounded to wise. Do not misunderstand this transformation. It does not mean pretending the pain did not matter. It means honoring it without surrendering to it. Feel it, acknowledge it, but then refuse to let it chain you to yesterday. The same fire that burned you can forge you. The same pressure that tried to crush you can refine you. Gold does not become pure without heat, and character does not become strong without challenge. There is power in your scars. They are reminders that you healed. They are evidence that you endured. And when you share your story, not from a place of anger, but from a place of growth, you become a light for someone else still walking through darkness. Your survival becomes someone else's hope. In this 7-day journey, you will begin to see your pain differently. You will stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, how can this strengthen me? That shift in perspective is the birthplace of confidence. When you know that nothing you endure is wasted, you walk differently. You fear less. You trust more. You are not the sum of your suffering. You are the strength that rose because of it. Let your pain become your teacher, not your prison. Let it build in you a deeper compassion, a firmer resolve, a clearer vision. And when you step forward into your next chapter, do so knowing that every hardship you survived has added weight to your voice and power to your presence. Discipline is often misunderstood. Many think of it as restriction, as a chain that binds freedom. But discipline is not punishment. It is a declaration of self-respect. It is the choice to honor your own potential even when desire wanes, even when temptation calls, even when the world grows loud with distractions. Discipline is the backbone of confidence because it shows your mind, your body, and your spirit that you can be trusted to follow through, that you are capable of consistency, that you are serious about your own growth. Without it, even the brightest intentions scatter like leaves in the wind. Discipline begins in the small moments that nobody sees. It is waking up when the bed is warm and the body is tired. It is sitting down to study or to practice when every muscle whispers for ease. It is choosing to speak words of truth instead of convenience, to act with integrity even when it costs you comfort. Every act of self-discipline is a brick laid in the foundation of your confidence. It tells your soul, I am capable, I am reliable, I am growing. And as the bricks build, so too does the architecture of belief in yourself. Consistency is the quiet power of discipline. Confidence does not appear overnight. It is not a sudden eruption of courage. It is cultivated through repeated effort, through showing up for yourself day after day, even when motivation flickers. Every time you complete a task, no matter how small, you prove to yourself that you can be trusted. Every time you resist the lure of distraction or indulgence, you reinforce your own authority over your life. Discipline is not glamorous, but it is potent, and its results are lasting. There will be moments when discipline feels like a heavy burden. The body will crave rest when action is needed. The mind will beg for excuses, The heart will plead for indulgence. And in those moments, you must remember that discipline is not the enemy of joy. It is the path to it. True freedom comes from mastery of oneself. True power is born when you no longer allow impulses or fears to dictate your choices. Confidence is not imagined. It is earned through repeated acts of self-command. Discipline also teaches patience. It reminds you that meaningful growth is rarely instant. Muscles take time to strengthen, skills take time to sharpen, confidence takes time to anchor. Each day that you honor your commitments, each step that you take without faltering, builds resilience. You begin to understand that your dreams are not fragile. They are achievable, if only you will walk the steady path toward them. And every stride, no matter how small, compounds into transformation. In this 7-day journey, discipline will become your most loyal companion. It will whisper, "You can do this," when your energy flags. It will remind you that each choice matters. It will show you that your greatness is not a matter of luck or talent alone, but of the care, persistence, and effort you invest in yourself. And when these 7 days conclude, you will discover that the backbone of your confidence has been forged, that your power is no longer borrowed from others or circumstance, but earned through the unwavering fidelity you have shown to your own potential. Walking alone is often painted as a struggle, as if solitude is a burden to bear. But the truth is, walking alone is where courage is born. When you step forward without the safety net of approval, without the comfort of companionship, without the echo of agreement, you discover the measure of your own strength. It is in these solitary steps that character is forged, that clarity is gained, that your voice, untainted by expectation, can finally speak. Walking alone is not a punishment, it is an invitation to meet yourself fully. There will be times when the path feels empty, when every step is met with silence. The world may not cheer for you, may not notice your efforts, may even question your choices. And in those moments, it is easy to falter. It is easy to wish for validation, to long for reassurance, to look around for someone to confirm that you are on the right track. But true confidence is not found in applause. It is found in the steady heartbeat within, in the knowing that your steps have purpose, and that your direction is guided by your own vision. Walking alone teaches you to trust yourself. It forces you to listen to your own instincts, to follow the compass of your own values, to make decisions based on what you know to be right rather than what others expect. Each decision you make without leaning on the judgment of others strengthens your inner authority. You begin to understand that your guidance is sufficient, that your judgment is worthy, that your presence in the world does not require permission. Solitude sharpens discernment. It refines wisdom. It builds resilience. Loneliness may try to visit, but it is not the same as being alone. Loneliness whispers doubt, fear, and regret. Being alone allows space to breathe, space to grow, space to hear the subtle truths of your own heart. There is power in these quiet moments. In the absence of distraction, you can hear your dreams clearly. You can map your path deliberately. You can take responsibility fully. When you walk alone, every step is a declaration. You are not dependent on approval. You are not limited by comparison. You are not controlled by fear. Sometimes walking alone feels isolating because the world has conditioned us to seek constant companionship. We have been taught that safety lies in numbers, that strength is measured by the crowd that follows, that success is validated only when it is witnessed. But the solitary journey reveals something deeper. The person who can stand, move, and decide alone is unshakable. The person who honors their path without applause is unstoppable. Each solitary step becomes a testament to self-reliance, a proof that your power does not require audience or audience validation. Even when the path is uncertain, even when fear rises like waves against your stride, continue to move. Let the rhythm of your own courage guide you. Let the clarity of your purpose illuminate each step. Know that every stride taken in solitude builds confidence that cannot be borrowed, cannot be diminished, and cannot be taken away. By walking boldly, even when alone, you teach yourself to trust your inner compass, to honor your own rhythm, and to rise regardless of circumstance. And in this steadfast independence, you find the kind of strength that echoes far beyond the moments of solitude. Your voice is yours, and your space is yours, yet too often we treat both as negotiable. We shrink to fit expectations, whisper when we long to roar, step aside when we were meant to stand. We have been taught that humility requires silence, that respect requires invisibility, that peace requires shrinking. But claiming your voice is not arrogance, it is acknowledgement. Claiming your space is not selfishness, it is recognition of the fact that you belong. And when you claim both, you step fully into your own power. To claim your voice, you must first believe that what you have to say matters. The world will not always offer permission, encouragement, or applause. It may dismiss you, interrupt you, or ignore you entirely, but your voice is not granted by others. It exists whether they hear it or not. Each time you speak your truth, even in the quietest moment, you are staking your claim in your own life. Every idea shared, every boundary set, every thought expressed is a declaration that you refuse to be invisible. Claiming your space requires courage. It is more than physical presence. It is the energy you carry, the posture you adopt, the confidence with which you navigate life. It is standing tall even when others try to push you aside, taking the seat you deserve at the table, walking through doors you have earned the right to enter without apology. The world may be crowded with voices and opinions, but your space is not negotiable. Your presence has weight and it matters. The act of claiming space is a refusal to let fear, doubt, or others' discomfort dictate your movement. Many people fear claiming their voice or space because of the potential for rejection or criticism. They worry that speaking up will make them unpopular, that standing tall will make them targets, that asserting themselves will bring conflict. But the alternative is far more costly: fading into silence, shrinking into corners, dimming the light that was meant to illuminate your path. Courage is not absence of fear, it is choosing to act despite it. Each time you take up your rightful place, your inner confidence grows, and the echoes of your voice gain resonance. Claiming your voice also means listening carefully to what is authentic within you. It requires separating the noise of expectation from the truth of desire. Not every opinion matters. Not every criticism is valid. You do not need to conform to what others believe you should be. Speak with clarity. Speak with honesty. Speak with the awareness that the world will hear what it needs to hear. But your responsibility is to be heard. Your words have the power to influence, inspire, and transform, but only if you allow them to exist. When you claim your space, you create room for others as well. You show that being fully yourself is not a threat, but a model. You invite others to rise in their own truth, to take their place without apology. By embracing your own presence and expression, you amplify not just your own power, but the courage of those around you. And when you walk through life unapologetically claiming your voice and your space, you discover a freedom that cannot be borrowed, a confidence that cannot be shaken, and a power that belongs solely to you. To become unstoppable, you must first understand that it is not about the absence of obstacles, but about the refusal to be halted by them. Life will challenge you. It will place walls in your path, throw storms in your way, and test the limits of your endurance. But unstoppable is not a gift, it is a choice. It is the decision to rise each time you fall, to move forward when the way is unclear, to keep your eyes fixed on your purpose even when the world doubts you. In 7 days, you can begin to awaken that choice, and in doing so, you discover that your strength has always been greater than your challenges. The first step to becoming unstoppable is commitment. Commitment to yourself, to your growth, to your vision. You cannot rely on motivation alone. It comes and goes like the wind. Discipline is what carries you forward when desire falters. Every small decision to honor your plan, to persist despite discomfort, builds momentum. And momentum is the engine of the unstoppable. By the end of 7 days, even your smallest consistent actions compound into progress that feels like a breakthrough. Next, you must cultivate resilience. Unstoppable people are not immune to setbacks. They are skilled in the art of recovery. When disappointment strikes, they do not linger in the shadow of failure. They acknowledge the pain, learn from it, and step forward with renewed determination. Each setback becomes a teacher, each challenge becomes a step, each difficulty becomes a proving ground. In 7 days, you can begin to reframe obstacles as opportunities to test your strength, and the perspective shift itself is powerful enough to ignite unstoppable momentum. Confidence must also be nurtured. The belief that you are capable, that you are deserving, and that you have what it takes is a non-negotiable foundation of unstoppable energy. You cultivate it by acting even when you doubt, by speaking even when your voice shakes, by stepping into new experiences without waiting for permission. The world may not immediately recognize your courage, but your spirit does, and internal recognition fuels external results. Confidence grows fastest when it is exercised, and 7 days of deliberate action is enough to awaken it. Another key to becoming unstoppable is clarity. Know exactly what you want, why you want it, and what you are willing to do to achieve it. Ambiguity weakens focus. Indecision dilutes energy. When you are clear about your purpose, every choice aligns with it. You no longer waste time on what does not serve your goal. 7 days of clarity and focused action can remove the fog of hesitation, giving you a vision that drives every step forward with precision and intensity. Finally, embrace your inner power. Recognize that you already possess everything necessary to move mountains, to speak boldly, to lead fearlessly. Unstoppable people do not wait for permission, resources, or external validation. They act from a place of self-belief, persistence, and alignment with their purpose. Each day you choose courage, consistency, and focus. You build an energy that cannot be denied. In 7 days, that energy grows into a force within you that no circumstance, no opinion, and no obstacle can extinguish. By the end of this 7 day journey, you will not be someone who hopes to be unstoppable. You will be someone who knows it, because every thought, every choice, every action you have taken has built a foundation so strong that nothing can shake it. You will walk into the world with confidence unborrowed, power unapologetic, and courage unwavering. And once you realize this, you understand the truth. Being unstoppable was never about the world around you. It was about awakening the force that has always lived inside you.